Well, my next guest has not fled Ukraine, but remains put. Ukrainian parliamentarian Inna Sovsun has been in Kiev. But tonight she joins me from Western Ukraine, where she's visiting her son. And she's spoken to me about how much she missed her son. She's now with him, thank goodness. Inna, good to see you. What a relief that you now can spend some time with your son.
Thanks for having me. Yes, I've been here with him for 2 days, just checking if he's doing his math.
Was it a nervous trip to travel that far?
So the trip was, I took a train. The trains are basically free right now. So you just come to the train station and you just take the first train that arrives. It was overloaded, so there were more people than it was supposed to be. And we, like half of the road, we had to travel with the lights off because of the bombardments, so that the train conductors were trying to make sure that the Russians do not see the train moving. So you have to travel in the darkness. But other than that, it's a much safer route that for people who are trying to evacuate from Mariupol, that's for sure.
You simply can't trust the Russians. 9 hospitals have been blown to virtual smithereens. They have hit that theatre in the southern part of your country. 1,000 people were sheltering in that venue as well. You just can't trust them because they're not aiming at targets that they're allowed to aim at. They are hitting civilian targets, aren't they?
Exactly. And I don't know if you know that, but there are like images from the sky of that theater that they hit in Mariupol. And actually people hiding there have written in big letters the signs saying children close to those to that theater, so that to signify, the children are in hiding there. And there were around 1,000 people, at least half of them were children. So people there made an honest effort to say that there are civilians, there are children in that building, please do not bomb it. It was visible from the sky. It was visible for anyone who was dropping that bomb on that very theater. And they specifically targeted that theater because they knew perfectly well that children were in there.
No.
As of this morning, we were hearing some optimistic news that apparently the majority of the people were in the basement and it stood. So it withstood the attack and people are trying to get out of there.
Oh,
but we don't
great.
know how many of them have been actually in the basement and how many been on the first floor. Apparently those who have been on the first floor didn't make it. But we're still, it's impossible to know the exact number of casualties because working there for the rescue teams is again complicated because of the constant shelling of the area. So even people who are with threats to their life, trying to save those people stuck in those, what is left from the theater, it's basically difficult or impossible to do because they're continuing to shell that specific area where rescue teams are supposed to be saving children from those.
There's another war crime for you. There's plenty of evidence already for investigations to conclude and make a summary case against Vladimir Putin. I want to ask you about your president. He delivered one of these powerful, incredibly moving speeches to the US Congress yesterday. I think it's safe to say the whole world has been blown away by his unbreakable strength and leadership. You're not in Mr. Zelensky's party, but what has been your impression of him?
Well, as of right now, we all are in the same party, which is called Ukraine. We are all part of one country. And trust me, if Putin wanted to achieve, so there were rumors that his goal was to divide Ukraine into several parts or whatever, take control over some more parts that he already had. Well, he achieved quite the opposite. Ukraine had never been as united as it is right now. Right. We did have a parliamentary session 2 days ago in Kiev, and during that parliamentary session, some MPs from most pro-Russian group in the parliament were actually in the parliament, and they were voting in line with everybody else in the parliament, which is something I never thought I would see. Trust me. But I'm not saying all of them, but at least 1/3 of the most pro-Russian group are now completely Ukrainian patriots who are saying that Putin is a killer, a war criminal, and he needs to be punished and taken away from our country. Oh. So this extreme unity is something I truly didn't expect to see, but we are seeing that, and President became the symbol and the leader of that process. So despite being in opposition to him, we shall get back to our political debate after the victory. But right now, we are all speaking for our people, and we are all asking for the West to help. And we are speaking in one voice. Yes, that is true.
One party. It's interesting. The US is now planning to initiate legislation which would revoke Russia's trade status. When you hear about these very slow burn tactics, does it frustrate you?
Extremely. I will remind everyone that Russia attacked Ukraine not 3 weeks ago. It actually attacked Ukraine 8 years ago. It annexed Crimea. It has started the war in Donbass. And the world didn't react enough. Similarly to how the world didn't react to Russia taking control of part of Moldova or taking control of part of Georgia, Russia has been punished enough. And we heard the same what we are hearing right now. Let's not escalate. So for Putin, when he hears "let's not escalate," for him that is a sign that nobody is going to, to stand up to him, and he can go further. And I'm sure if sanctions that we are seeing now were imposed in 2014, we wouldn't have had this terrible, terrible war that we're experiencing right now. So what I'm asking the West right now is please do not believe in this mantra that when you try not to escalate, that Putin will actually listen to this. He will take it as a sign of weakness. And all he does with weakness is just go through and continues his attacks. So the sanctions are too slow. We wish we had seen them earlier. But right now we are asking for more. We're asking for personal sanctions. We're asking for full trade embargo. We're asking for every single country that is saying now that they stand with Ukraine. You cannot stand with Ukraine and continue to buy Russian produce, Russian oil, gas, and everything, because that is the money he is using to buy weapons to kill Ukrainians right now.
Yes.
So you either stand with Ukraine or you buy Russian gas and oil. That is crucially important to understand for everyone.